So let's get World Ballet Day started with class and ballet mistress Elizabeth Toohey.
Good afternoon, everybody. It's great to be part of World Ballet Day. Let's start facing the bar as usual. Peel the foot off and fondue. 3 and 4. Tendu front, fondue flex, and tendu and close. Change legs, devant, 3 and 4. A la seconde, and port de bras to the side. Lower the heel, lengthening through the lumbar spine, turn side on, up and down, and back you come. You start with the left leg, it goes back, right leg goes back, a la seconde with the left, lower the heel, turn around, reach through, stretching through the hamstrings. Thank you. Thanks, Brian. Peel the foot, and down, and 3. A little slower, tendu front, fondue flex, and out. Left foot front. A la seconde, press through, port de bras side. Lower the heel there.
Now, while my co-host, Jarryd, is working hard in class, I'm lucky enough to have the Artistic Director of the Australian Ballet, David McAllister, with me to explain to you what is going on. Now, it is extraordinary to me, David, that Elizabeth just said, bit of this, bit of that,
Just
bit of this.
peeling up through the spine.
And this is suddenly a whole routine.
Yeah, it's sort of something you get used of, and there is a bit of a shorthand. And in fact, as you watch the class, you'll see her doing things with her hands, and that's what the dancers basically watch. But all dancers know the routine of the class, so they just follow each day. The teacher will set a new set of exercises, but you sort of follow the program as it's set daily. So it's wonderful to have Lizzie back. She's been away for 25 years, and so it's wonderful to have her here with us for World Ballet Day 2017.
Now, you used to dance with Elizabeth Toohey.
I did. We danced a lot together all around the world, and yeah, in fact, I think we probably had our first most exciting moments on stage together.
So what's it like working with her in a professional capacity, in an administrative capacity with the ballet?
I mean, she's been such a great part of the Australian Ballet's history. And in fact, all of the ballet staff that we have in the company have all been dancers with the Australian Ballet. So there's that wonderful sense of heritage as you hand on to the next generation. So having Lizzie with us, Stephen Heathcote, Fiona Tonkin, Paul Knobloch,
Let's release the arms
Megan Connolly, they're all great, parts of the fabric of the history of the company. So yeah, it's really a nice continuation.
Did you ever imagine back in the 80s when you were all together that you suddenly would be running the company 30 years on?
No, in a word.
It's not a grand plan for a takeover between all of you?
No. In fact, I think if anyone had said to me in 1983 when I joined the Australian Ballet that I'd be the artistic director and working with all my colleagues, I think I would have laughed at them.
Do dancers have to attend class every morning? Is this a compulsory class?
Look, it is. I think all dancers need to do a warm-up class every day, and I think Rudolf Nureyev really had it right when he said if you miss class one day, you notice, but if you miss class for 2 days, then the audience notice. So, it's part of the discipline of being a dancer.
Release the neck. Open the chest.
And here today we have principals, we have members of the corps, the most junior members of the company all together.
Exactly. So this is what we call a general class. So all of the dancers can decide which class to take. Some days we have just ladies' class and gentlemen's class in separate studios, and sometimes we separate the classes by rank. So we'll have the principals and soloists in one class, and then the corps de ballet and chorégraphes in another. But I think it's good every so often for people to choose which class they want to do.
Connect both.
And it's really nice sometimes if you're in a boys' class a lot to have the girls in class and vice versa.
So apart from setting the exercises that the company is going to perform in these classes, is Liz looking out for anything in particular?
Yeah, she'll be looking for alignment things, just technical placement that the dancers work on each day. So you pretty much, this is priming your body, I guess, for the day's work ahead. So yeah, she'll be looking at the hip alignment, feet alignment, knee alignment, shoulder alignment, and just general sort of, if anyone's taking tension in any part of their body, just trying to release that. But equally, if someone's not on top of their balance, to just correct those sorts of things.
So I'm just looking at Jarryd Madden, my
Yes.
wonderful co-host today for World Ballet Day. How's he looking this morning? Does he look balanced to you?
He looks very balanced. Jarryd's one of those fantastic dancers who he works extremely hard each day to keep that physical placement, as all the dancers do. And I think today's going to be really interesting because he's going to be sort of like Superman, jumping from his cape and tights into street clothes to be co-host, and then performing in various rehearsals. So yeah, it's going to be an exciting day for him.
The thing that struck me about chatting to the dancers before we got to today was how incredibly articulate they all are. And it was interesting talking to one of them. He said, "Really, you think we're articulate? We just think that we dance for a living."
Shape the arms in fifth.
It's extraordinary.
I think that comes from,
Press.
being a performer, you need to, have a sense of yourself, I guess. But also because we don't speak on stage, it's quite a novelty to actually talk. So when we get a chance, you usually can't shut us up.
I'll keep an eye out for that with Jarryd during the day.
Press. Lengthen, open the front of the pelvis, lengthen through the front of the hips. There you are. Straight down. Beautiful, Kelsey.
Now, the first rehearsal, we at ringside seats for today is Suite en Blanc. And don't forget, if you do have a question about ballet, about dance, about the Australian ballet in particular, or maybe a question for Jarryd Madden, my co-host here today, who you just saw
Nothing's
do
off limits.
class. Oh, nothing? Okay.
Maybe a couple of things.
Well, there you go. That's an invitation. You can comment on the Australian Ballet's Facebook page, or you can go to Twitter at the Oz Ballet. Make sure you include the hashtag World Ballet Day, and we will be asking you, getting your questions and getting the answers from Jarryd. As he said, nothing's off limits. Now, Jarryd, this rehearsal we're about to see, Suite en Blanc,
Yep.
Can you give us an idea of what's involved?
This is quite a technical ballet. In terms of performance, there's no story to be told, so that kind of makes this ballet very exposing in a way. There are definitely stylized moments of ballet in essence, but yeah, so when it comes to this production, it's very, you're just exposed. So it's just you on stage in a sense. So it's pretty tough.
Is it harder to do as a dancer, or is it more challenging to do, say, a character role or a contemporary work?
I personally like to hide behind a character in a way. It kind of gives me like a bit of a safety blanket. So if I'm on stage and I'm being someone else, then it really isn't me in a way, so that kind of is very comforting. It's like one of those introvert kind of are the better performers, I guess. In a way.
Start off with serenade. We'll try
We're
to
about
run
to start
this
now.
way.
Now, this is
So
Fiona
have
Tonkin,
corrections
who is running this
afterwards.
rehearsal. Fiona performed
right.
this role when she was an 18-year-old at the Australian Ballet.
always find these slower dances are much harder because there's that, you have to have that control when you dance, like the balances are so hard.
Arco's extraordinary. We just saw her in class. I think, I don't know how many fouettés she spun out, but I don't know, 25 in a row, and she barely moved from the spot. We just saw her, do 4 or 5 there before.
She's extremely talented. She rose through the ranks very, very fast, understandably. Like, she's just incredible to watch.
Why is it important for the girls to rehearse in tutus?
Sorry, what was the question?
Why is it important for the girls to rehearse in tutus?
It gives you a sense of presentation and how to perform, I guess. And also,
just on the
it also limits.
Let's hear what Arco. I can't believe she's getting critiqued for that.
As you go from here, just keep the energy going forward, all right? Lift it underneath your hips. Try and get that foot. Good girl. That's it. Bring it in. That's it. Last one as well. Push over. Nice. Good girl. Okay. The only thing that I thought was that, you know, when you're going into the adage and you go from here, as you still, even though you're still lifting your thigh, I still feel like you're going down. The energy is going down. So keep it lifted all the way through into the fondue. And lift, 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 and up, lift, 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 and... So when you get to the fondue part of it, it's that because as you go from here, as you transfer, keep the weight going this side, then as you transfer up, keep it going that side, okay? And lift, stay over, and up, stay on the leg, and all right, nearly. It's that part where you need that, from that point, on that point, and as you go to the demi point, don't fall back on it. Just keep your pelvis right high. Right up, through, good girl, there we go. Right on top, aha, that's it. And good girl. That soutenu into the arabesque was really beautiful, absolutely beautiful. You know this one going from here into here, it was nearly right going into that, that high, again high on the demi point, so we don't fall down, good girl. Croisé, 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 up, lift it through, up, and fondue, divine. Good girl, lovely, really, really lovely. Okay, the attitude was great. Leaving that nice lift coming into the attitude. And that last diagonal was stunning. Yeah. I think they got it. Good. Lovely, thank you very much. Thank you. Okay, pas de cinq.
Technical
right.
term for that.
Here we go. Good girl. That's strong. Arabesque. In the seats. Now strong backs. Stretch your knee. Stretch, stretch. Good girl. Up, up. Keep turning your back. Turn the back. Shoulder pull. Good girl. Same. Pull. Better. All right, thank you. All right, okay, thanks, thanks, thanks.
Our next rehearsal here at World Ballet Day live from the Australian Ballet in Melbourne is Grand Park Classic.
Yes, this is a very challenging one. We have Lana Jones, principal artist, and Brodie Possum James, choreographer.
And smooth over the top. Good, Lana. 1, 2. Good, guys.
Do you when you're a male dancer and the girl's turning like that, how do you manage to hold a woman when they're turning without pushing them sideways?
Years and years of practice. Guys start to learn how to partner when they're 12, 13 years old, I think in the ballet school here. So you kind of learn the tricks of the trade, but then also every single girl, the partner is completely different. I think Lana quite likes to do it herself. She's a very natural turner. So some girls like to be partnered the whole time, but Lana likes to just go, just let me do my thing and then catch me at the end. So you learn everything in the school, and then when you get to the company, you have to forget all of it because every girl's completely different.
So if you're partnered with someone, for instance, Brodie is a more junior dancer in the company than Lana, would she have said to him, now, Brodie, here are the ground rules? Because doesn't the man lead in pas de deux?
It's a really strong
Very
partnership,
nice.
I guess.
So just the coming
it is
down,
definitely.
when you're coming down and we get a place,
The girl really
because
has
we
her
attain
style
that.
and has her
we just
wants and
need to make
needs.
sure
And
that
then
we
it's the
give a
guy's
space
job
and
to
we
facilitate it,
both
essentially.
are able to
Because
compromise.
during the pas de deux, you are supposed to, I guess, technically look at the girl and watch the girl's amazing abilities. And the guy's supposed to facilitate these things that the girls otherwise wouldn't be able to do. Like do 10 pirouettes and then just stop still is, extremely hard to do. So you kind of generally have a guy there to help you out with that part.
There's always that thing where, when you put it down, I think the leg's coming underneath this way, it needs to come straight down, and then we need to have a gap in between so that we can both counter. And what I think you're doing is you're bringing it down and just staying on the spot, don't you think? There's no... I think you're so careful with her.
Just put it down a bit sooner so you've got a bit of time to
Understand. Yeah, understand. All right, so we need to work on that eventually. And then much better with the double cessons, good boy. Much, much better. Still need to try and keep, just find a way to keep her on her balance just a little bit, just before. Okay. Okay. Okay, and then this on this balance, okay, wasn't too bad. That was just you putting your head down. All right. Keep your back working. All right. Let's do some solos.
Is it a bit daunting as a more junior member of the company to be dancing with a principal?
Absolutely, you have this massive responsibility.
Brody's dreams.
Back to your question, it is like one of those moments when if you're a younger dancer dancing with a principal, it kind of really makes or breaks a dancer, and Brody has definitely risen to the occasion in this particular case.
What's more fun to do, a solo like we just saw Brody do, or a partnering role as a male dancer?
I really quite enjoy dancing with a partner. I think it's a really nice moment to share on stage. I feel very exposed when it's just me out there trying to be as balletic as I can be. It's just like one of those pressures that... It's one of those pressures.
And the last diagonal is so much better. Yeah. Good boy. So much better. We still need a little bit more on the footwork, just on the, but much, much better. Good boy. All right, Lana. Good girl, much better. And up, up. And good girl. And slice. Open, good girl, and slice. Good girl. Keep that back open and open, open, up and good girl, keep it. All right. Toes and. Well done. Okay, well done.
Fantastic. Hello, Chris. Lovely to be with you. Happy World Ballet Day to everybody. I'm here with Jade Wood, soloist of the Australian Ballet, and Brett Chenoweth, senior artist, both of whom have actually just done their debut performance last night of Giselle and Albrecht, and did a fabulous job, might I add. Now, Brett, we live in a big country. What's it like to tour regional Australia?
Yeah, it's such a unique setup that the Australian Ballet has doing the regional tour. The fact that the National School and the company come together to travel around and showcase what we love is quite a unique experience, actually, so it's really special.
Great. Fantastic. Now, Jade, how do you find audiences? Are they different in country areas, regional areas, as opposed to the city areas?
I think it's nice because when we go to regional areas, often it might be the first time that they've ever seen a live ballet performance, so it's really special for us to come and bring that to them, and they're always very enthusiastic, so it's great.
That's certainly what I've noticed. They're happy to have a chat. Yeah. Now, Brett, of course, the other thing is that we travel very quickly from one venue to the next, and so we are moving from one theatre to the next in a short space of time. How do you deal with the differences in venues? And obviously we're faced with different stage sizes, etc.
Well, unlike the main stage work where we're in the opera house or the theatre that we're in for a certain amount of time, and you have time to get used to the stage and the size and the lighting and all of that, on the road it all happens very quickly, like you said, and so the challenge is not only to adapt very quickly to the different environment, but you know, maintaining your body and maintaining your performance level along the whole tour, because it's a completely different setup.
Absolutely. So now, Jade, obviously, do you think that it's important that we continue to tour regionally, and if so, why?
Yeah, I think it's really important to keep touring regionally, because we want to be able to bring our ballet world to as many people as possible all around Australia. So
absolutely.
great.
I think it's a great way to circumvent some of the huge distances that we have in this country. Just finally, last question before we head back up to rehearsal. How do you keep your health and fitness going on tour? Great.
Well, I think the challenge is kind of navigating the town that you're in as soon as you get there. So we're travelling around to all these different towns and cities and finding, you know, spots where I can go and eat and, you know, making sure we get enough sleep, and all of those day-to-day things are a big part of it. But then I guess the comfort is that we're a big touring family, so we look after each other and we make sure that we all do whatever it takes to get the results at the end of the day, which is lovely. So,
Jade, any tips for touring and keeping healthy?
Getting rest when you can and sleeping, trying to sleep well, and looking after each other.
Yep.
Yeah.
Fantastic. All right, so we're going to head back up on stage now and continue on with rehearsal. We've got another show tonight, so let's head on up. So, ladies and gents, if we could just get ready now for the first act waltz, that would be great. Thank you. I think Kate, our stage manager's all queued up, and so we're going to go through the waltz section in the first act here of Giselle. Just from where Jade invites everyone to dance and we begin the waltz. Throughout this, she'll come and pick up Brett off the bench, okay? Kate, are you right to go? All right, here we go. So just from the top of the waltz, just watch the spacing here, yeah? Thanks, Kate. Good, ladies, just keep an eye on the lines up and down stage. Underneath foot, ladies, on the ton leve, and gents. Keep this active, eyes on Albrecht, watching what's happening. Just watch spacing here. Good. Good, just keep an eye on the opposite numbers here. What's your line, gentlemen? That's it. Just keep looking down the diagonal, ladies, before the lift.
Now it's time for our next rehearsal, and it's a real favourite. We have Leanne Stromanov dancing the role of Cinderella, and Kevin Jackson is the prince in Act 2 of Cinderella. Jarryd,
Yep.
this ballet, Cinderella, was choreographed by Alexei Ratmansky. He's been described by New York Times critic Alistair McCauley as the most gifted choreographer in classical ballet today. What challenges does his choreography bring as a dancer?
He really, I find working with him, he really pushed ballet to the limit, like in terms of port de bras and épaulement. So like in terms, so it's not as, you're never really upright. If you're doing a lean, it's as leany as you can possibly go. He loves that kind of extended line and position.
So that's really important when you're partnering, I'd imagine.
Yeah.
Well, look at that. There's a lean.
Yeah, there's a lean. So it does really kind of push the limits in terms of partnering and dancing as well. So it's never really felt like the girl's on their leg when you partner her in this particular part of deux. You always have to have a little bit more weight in each hand, which kind of brings a bit more endurance, I guess. There's an endurance factor.
So it sounds like it's fairly demanding as a dancer to do Ratmansky's choreography.
Yeah, because it's always a thing with a new choreographer. You have to try and like do something that's different and like progress ballet in that sense. And so this is he really is, as I have said, he's really phenomenal as a choreographer. It really works. Everything he's done has been really successful, essentially.
First going around, that would be lovely. And I think, Kev, beautiful movement. Just as we go into the Cicone, I still reckon that after you've done that movement and you go into here, we could still go a little bit further, just so that it has a little bit more movement around here. not too, but I mean, just a little bit more distance. Not too massive, and then from here, then flows. That's it. Yeah, that would be lovely. Yeah.
I stopped a bit early, didn't I? I think
a little bit.
I feel really unaware that I don't want to get you running too much, but I'll just keep going.
Yeah, that would be gorgeous. The nice movement, guys, on the bourrées and that going back is really, really beautiful. Lee, as you come round here, this is good. From here, when you go into here, still the stretch before you go down. Keep it stretched, chest, that's it. This was much better. Oh, beautiful, lovely. Okay, that's it. And back. And this was really good too, going into the fifth in the body. Great, guys. Going round, I think it's just one of those things. I know we want to stop, but still keep the momentum going around so we don't get too late. Just from side to side, just as though you're looking at his face. There we go. That's it. This was lovely. The movement on this next, on those lifts, are absolutely stunning. Love the Cicone going back into here and then going. Yeah.
I think that's the same. I'm not sure where to put that.
That's fine. That's fine. Yeah. I think sometimes, Lee, when we go into the last position, maybe you're coming through your foot first, and so that's pulling it back. I think keep your hip over the leg as you go into the fondue. There we go, much better. All right, do you want to carry on? You okay to carry on? Okay, thanks, yeah.
Japan is located a great distance from the West. Despite globalization, one can still recognize its distinct traditional culture maintained in all aspects of life. Traditional culture such as kabuki, no, and bunraku, which have a history of hundreds of years, still respect the sanctity of ancient roots in Japanese society. Throughout its long history, kabuki has had numerous beloved superstars. Traditionally, kabuki performances were accessible entertainment for everyone, not only the entitled or ruling classes. The Japanese have been traditionally taught that it is a virtue to repress emotions of delight, anger, sorrow, and joy. As a result, it is rare to express emotions openly. As a national trait, it was a challenge for the Japanese dancers to incorporate and include dramatic interpretation with their dancing. Even though expressing emotions is something natural for Europeans or Americans, it is not easy for the Japanese. By adding to the international repertoire during these past 20 years, the dancers have learned the importance of the dramatic element within a ballet production. Even people from an oriental country like Japan, which is located far away from the land where ballet originated and has a completely different language, cultural background and history, are able to share the passion, sorrow and artistry. Ballet connects the hearts of those who love this art form. October 2017 will present a new production of Wayne Eagling's The Nutcracker and the Mouse King to the repertoire. In 2018, we welcome a new production of Christopher Wheeldon's Alice's Adventures in Wonderland. It is a co-production with the Australian Ballet and has been made possible by collaboration between the two companies and by sharing resources. We would like to express thanks to our new friends at the Australian Ballet and especially to David McAllister, Artistic Director of Australian Ballet. I believe that adding modern, exciting and highly entertaining ballets will serve as a driving force to bring people who have not had any contact or interest in ballet to the theatre. I believe ballet performances in Japan will be loved by many more people in the near future, just like kabuki has been loved by all people, not just the privileged.
It was a very positive impression, yes. I had seen some little clips of the company before on video, but didn't really have much of an idea of the standard, of the level of dancing, and very, very strong dancers. I think we're going to have some wonderful casts of Alice here.
So, heart and soul and musicality for me, which I think somehow, I don't know why, the National Ballet has got that. It has got a real ensemble musicality.
And now we have front row seats to the rehearsal of the pas de trois from Imaginary Mask. Jarryd, my co-host, as you can see, is rehearsing. So I'm joined by David McAllister, Artistic Director of the Australian Ballet. Now, David, who are we looking at here?
Well, this is Robin Hendricks, who's one of our principals, as you know, with Nathan Brooke, who you may have seen in class, and of course your co-host, Jarryd Madden. The rehearsal's been taken by Stephen Baines, who's one of our resident choreographers, and this was a piece that he created as part of a longer ballet in 2004, and we revived it for our Symphony in C program. So they're just going to do a little bit from it now.
So just pick it up really, you don't need to do this first bit, but just when she comes back the second time, but if you go right on that fast section.
Piano.
Sticky. That's the way. Yeah, that's good. Nice. 1 and 2. Great. Yeah. Just so long as she's down in time to go 1 and 2. Oh, the press afterwards.
No, that one.
Yeah, that one.
I made you earlier.
Yeah, just give them.
It's always so nice to have the
Just so long as you can hear
when you're rehearsing a piece like that, having the choreographer in the room is always such a special experience for the dancers because they're getting the knowledge firsthand. Yep. No, we're ready.
Let's go from the head roll, the bit from there, okay? So, Duncan, where the repeat of the theme the first time when the boys are on the floor. Change of dynamic here.
David, are there particular challenges when you have a woman dancing with two partners?
It does make it a little bit more difficult because you're coordinating between three as opposed to just two. But I think some of the most beautiful pieces in ballet are actually for
nice and smooth.
Pas de trois. George Balanchine always used to say if you have a couple on stage, you have a relationship. If you have three people on stage, you have a drama.
that the male dancers are the same height, otherwise you'd end up with a bit of lopsided lift.
It does make it a lot easier, yeah. It's a beautiful piece.
It's gorgeous.
Yeah. But yes, it is a lot easier when you've got two similar sorts of movers, but also the same height, same arm length.
5, really. That should be like 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 5, and 6, and 7, 8, and 1. Sorry, he's 5 and you're 1. Just a tiny bit later on that. Yeah. Good. Well done.
How did you start studying dance to become a professional dancer?
Yes, I attended this ballet competition in Tokyo in 2001, and I received a scholarship to go to the Australian Ballet School. So I went there and I studied there for 3 years.
And that's when you came and auditioned for Singapore Dance Theatre and ended up joining almost directly.
Directly, yeah.
From Australian Ballet School.
Yes.
And actually, you have an interesting story because your father studied dance as well, did he not?
Yes. In fact, he brought me to his ballet teacher when I was very young. So my real childhood training began with his teacher.
And you came into the Scholars Program, our very first year of the Scholars Program, which was 2011.
Yeah.
And you had just finished your military service, which is compulsory here in Singapore.
Yes, I did.
And then you went and did university.
Yes, I went to public university to study engineering.
But during that time, you also took class in
Yes.
both here and at Chung Ballet.
Yes.
And then you came to me, and I've asked you this before, but I thought it was such a wonderful, wonderful way to express yourself. I asked you once why you decided to continue dancing, and your answer to me was?
I couldn't imagine living a life without dance, and I knew that I would regret it all my life if I didn't pursue a career in dance. Yes.
And here you made it. Because I was never sure if you really wanted to dance in the company. I knew you wanted to train, but actually having you here is a source of great pride for me, for coming through the Scholars Program and having you become an apprentice, and then your first roles in the company, and now taking on larger roles. That's very, very nice. It's quite, I think you should be quite pleased with yourself.
I think I realized how much I wanted to dance when I didn't have it. When I was dry and I just needed something to feel alive, and that was when I knew that I had to do it. And I would regret it all my life if I didn't at least try. So
I thought that was one of the most beautiful answers I've ever heard in my life. Because why we all dance is a big question, you know, and I think that it sums it up very, very well, because the thought of not dancing was something that was hard to think about. Why did you wanted to continue dancing when you wanted to go become a professional dancer?
I probably can say the same thing. Like, I just couldn't imagine my life without dancing. It's like part of me. I don't know how I live without it. You know,
because dancing is actually not just given you, if I may say so, dance has not just given you a career as a dancer, it's also introduced you to the man who's going to be your husband. Well, if you think about it, that's quite a nice thing for ballet to give you.
Yeah, it is a great thing.
In the company, because we do both classical and contemporary works, because we're not Singapore Ballet, we're Singapore Dance Theatre. How do you feel about because right now it's a perfect moment for that, because we're doing an evening that's all contemporary works and an evening that's entirely classical works, and the demands of that are very, very different on your sensibilities, your movement, your technique, your how you prepare, etc. But for you, how does that feel?
I think I feel they complement each other. I feel the contemporary aspect of dance teaches me how to move and how to appreciate movement, while the classical aspect shows me why I fell in love with ballet in the first place. The beauty of the form, the lines, the discipline and the rigor. Yes, all these complement to make us a more complete dancer. Yes, and make a more complete company as well.
And you?
For me,
what's performance like for you? What's performance? Because you've had a lot of performance experience with us. So what's the difference between rehearsal day and performance day?
It's very, very different. Like, I wish I could be the same in the studio and on stage, but it just doesn't work that way. Well, our daily schedule will change quite a lot, and basically, like, waking up time is different. Eat breakfast, eat lunch, the timing is all changed.
Well,
and
at least, I mean, right now we're actually rotating 10 different ballets, and on a performance day, at least you know, okay, I've got to worry about this one full length or these 3 ballets today.
Yeah, that's true. Like when we're in the studio, I try to leave ballet in the studio, and then I go home without ballet. I think.
Well, it's difficult when your husband's your partner.
We try to do the other stuff. I mean, like we try not to think of ballet so much at home, but it doesn't work that way when we are in the theater. We go home, think about what we've done during the dress run or tech run or whatever. And think about all night. Even probably I'll be dreaming about Sleeping Beauty on my bed. So it can be very stressful, but also it's very pleasing to perform on stage.
Okay, so welcome to Studio 7 and 8. We're just rehearsing Christopher Wheeldon's amazing, beautiful scene from the Waltz of the Flowers, or the Flower Waltz, in the second act of Alice's Adventures in Wonderland. We have Amber Scott playing Alice, and the company are dancing the Flowers section. Hope you enjoy it.
So David McAllister, what are we watching here?
So this is the Flower Waltz from Act 2 of Alice's Adventures in Wonderland, and it's this wonderful scene all the way through the first act. She keeps hearing this music, and then eventually she finally gets to go to the place where the flowers are waltzing, and so it's the highlight of Act 2, and it's sort of the thing that happens. And then she meets up with the Knave of Hearts, and they do a beautiful pas de deux, which we'll see shortly.
Fantastic costumes are such a big part of this ballet, and I'll notice that Amber Scott, principal, who's playing Alice, is rehearsing there in the longer toujee than usual.
Yeah, that's actually a practice dress that we made specifically for Alice's, because they have that bow and the little sort of bustle thing at the front, and so they needed to get used to being able to dance with that on. And it's interesting because we're actually performing this ballet at the moment, but as are the Royal Ballet in London. So I think we're going to see a little bit more of Alice's Adventures in Wonderland with the Royal Ballet when they're doing their section of World Ballet Day. So we've sort of got to cross international lines, Alice in Wonderland Day. And I hear that Christopher Wheeldon's actually watching in New York. So he's probably going to send us notes after this rehearsal.
Hello, Christopher. It's been a phenomenal success in Australia, this ballet. Why do you think it's resonated with audiences so much?
Look, I think it's been a success everywhere in the world that it's been performed. It was a collaboration between the National Ballet of Canada and the Royal Ballet in the first season. And really from the very first performance, it was just such a smash hit. And so we're really lucky and very proud to be a part of the Alice in Wonderland team. But I think it's because it's beautiful dancing, but it's a fantastic story, and it's a story that ballet does very well. It's about fantasy and love and really wonderful characters, and Chris has just made such an extraordinary work that is going to be a ballet that I think, you know, in 100 years' time, ballet companies will be performing this work just like Sleeping Beauty and The Nutcracker.
I get the impression from the dancers that they love performing this ballet because they can unleash not only their incredible dance capabilities, but it allows them to act as well.
Exactly, and there's so many wonderful characters. I mean, this scene obviously is a big ensemble scene, but you'll see later on when we do the Tartadage, it's such a fantastic ballet to be able to, be comic, be dramatic, and there's 9 or 10 or even more fantastic characters that you can spread around through the company. So yeah, they do love performing it.
What are we going to be looking at now, David?
So what we're seeing now is the famous Tartadage from the third act, which is a parody of the Rosadage from the Sleeping Beauty. And funnily enough, we are actually going to do the Rosadage from the Sleeping Beauty later on today. So when you see this and you see the Rosadage later on, you'll be able to see where Christopher was sort of getting his inspiration from.
All right.
Because it's a lovely,
Lizzie?
humorous parody of that particular
Lizzie?
piece.
Well, I think Fiona Tonkin and Liz are about to run the rehearsal.
They're getting it sorted. They're getting it on. Yes, so here we go. And Tristan Message, who's our ballet master, will be playing the father, or the King of Hearts, who's a bit of a henpecked husband.
Oh, he looks henpecked already. Nicola Curry, of course, playing
Dancing,
the Queen.
yes, exactly. Everyone's a bit scared of her and they're all trying to not be her partner. Ed Smith over there with the big axe is the executioner, and of course anything that goes wrong he's there to chop off their heads, so he's a constant threat. That's the first strike. Stroke 2.
Roses, don't you?
And she gets tarts here. was the third stroke and he's off with his head.
How much fun did Chris Wheeldon have choreographing this ballet?
I think he had a lot of fun.
She doesn't get injured. It's quite physical. Right now we're back here live at the Australian Ballet in Melbourne, and you are watching a rehearsal of Little Atlas, which is with choreographer Alice Topp, who is one of Australia's newest, most promising, talented choreographers coming through. Possibly the next big thing, David McAllister.
I think so. Look, Alice created this work last year for us for our Symphony in C program, and it was just such a beautiful work. And on the strength of that, because she'd done a number of works in our Body Talk program, which is our choreographic development program, we've commissioned her to do a big full one-act piece for next year, which we're really looking forward to. She's chosen the name. It's called Arum, which is Latin for gold, and she's got a really unique voice and really interesting choreographic style, which is very organic but very beautiful.
Yeah, awesome. Do you want to take it from here, a couple of steps back from there, and a little bit in? Yeah. Do you feel like you need to be sent just a little bit further past him?
Yeah.
Beautiful.
That feels like it goes on the other leg though. I think I need to start in that position.
Yeah? The shape when you're up here is beautiful. It's just the coming down.
Are you going to do something?
There you go. That was better, yeah? Keep going from here. Nice. Plie, keep the breath in here, plie down around. Nice. Easy on this. And take your time on this. There we go.
David, just watching that, how many bruises do dancers acquire doing an Alice Topp work?
Look, I think in the process there's always that, development where
Beautiful.
You try things over and over and over, and then, you can get a few hot spots for bruising and things. But the more you do it, the more you find the ways of not falling into that sort of area of pain.
Great.
And I think the more you do it, like now, they're just pretty much running this but in the creation process, it's a lot more arduous.
Well, you'd have to work out what was possible looking at some of these moves.
Yeah, and it's quite beautiful because Alice sees the next move in her head really almost before the guys know what it's going to be. So there is a lot of trial and error. It's very sort of research and development. And sometimes the dancers can say, oh, I feel if I just keep going that way, I'll fall into this. And so it's a real, I suppose the whole art of choreography is about discovery.
Yeah. Can the choreographers do the moves themselves?
Well, Al can, yeah, but I think often with the female choreographers, I think they see the feeling of the partnering. Sometimes the male choreographers can do the partnering, whereas the ladies can see the possibilities. So it's very different, and every choreographer has a very different process of how they work.
Yeah. If the weight's forward here rather than being able to send it so you can roll down, because that was beautiful. It's just also making sure that you can tuck your leg in so you can go over on that part after the attitude, this one, because I felt like was it your arm or your leg?
Yeah, we just got something like
Sure. Yeah, no. Beautiful. At ease, you. Should we put in...
Is there a greater level of collaboration between choreographer and dancer, say, in this sort of contemporary work, as opposed to classical?
I think so, yeah. I mean, the classical vocab is much more sort of totalitarian. You just do it.
各位世界芭蕾日的观众朋友们，大家好，我是中国中央芭蕾舞团团长、艺术总监冯英，很高兴继2015年之后，再次受到澳大利亚芭蕾舞团艺术总监 David McAllister 的邀请，在世界芭蕾日这个重要的节日里，再次与大家见面。
The National Ballet of China, or NBC, was founded in Beijing in 1959. It was the first professional ballet company in Chinese history. Through the efforts of several generations, the company has rapidly grown into one of the world's most prestigious ballet companies. It now has 110 dancers, who are among the best in China. Dancers and ballet masters from other countries have also joined in recent years. The company currently has more than 200 programs in its repertoire, to inherit and learn from classical works, to explore and create Chinese works, and to develop and enrich contemporary works. This is how the National Ballet defines its three-pillar artistic approach. The rapid development of NBC's original Chinese ballet is partly due to its solid classical ballet inheritance. Since the 1950s, with the Russian school as its foundation, NBC later absorbed essences from diverse repertoire that are masterpieces of the French, British and Danish schools, and America's George Balanchine. In September 2016, NBC premiered Natalia Makarova's newest version of La Bayadère in China. The company's high-quality artistic performance and marvellous innovations in stage and lighting design were highly spoken of by Madame Makarova and warmly welcomed by audiences. Meanwhile, NBC has made big progress in developing and enriching contemporary ballet. During the past 20 years, the company has introduced works by Roland Petit, Maurice Bijard, Ben Stevenson, William Forsythe, John Neumeier, and so on. In May 2017, NBC again collaborated with John Neumeier and presented an evening named Songs and Dances of the Earth. Besides introducing great contemporary works, the company also encourages its own young creative talents. In 2010, Madame Feng Ying launched Ballet Creative Workshop, an international platform for young choreographers to join hands with other theatre artists. More than 30 small and medium-sized ballet works have been created, among which Close Your Eyes When It's Getting Dark and Love of Mulan have won international fame. In July 2017, at the invitation of John Neumeier, the artistic director of Hamburg Ballet, NBC joined Hamburg Balletage as guest company. During the evening, from the Crane Calling to the Yellow River, NBC impressed the European audience with the Crane Calling and 5 other pieces with strong Chinese characteristics. Die Welt praised NBC as the world's best ballet. Junge Welt commented, "The future of ballet will be in China." In September, NBC explored a new Chinese original ballet creation. Dun Huang, The Light of Heart, brings the diamond of the Silk Road, 1,650-year-old Dun Huang cave art, onto the ballet stage.
回顾中国芭蕾的发展历程，我们欣喜地看到，源自西方芭蕾艺术的各个流派在中华大地上汇成江河，经中国文化的沃土滋养，而形成了一片独有的壮美风景。我们展望未来，将继续努力，以更丰富多彩的剧目、才华横溢的演员、专业高效的团队，不断为世界人类文明共同的汪洋大海注入中国的活力。期待着下一次的世界芭蕾日，中巴与您再相见。
Let's start. Here we go.
Of ballet, this particular dance.
Absolutely.
As a dancer, does that make it a little bit more nerve-wracking to do because audiences know it, love it?
Yeah, absolutely. I think then you have to. There is an expectation coming into this production, not just this piece, the whole ballet. Everyone knows and loves the Sleeping Beauty. So there's definitely an element of having to reach expectations for the audience, which does bring a lot of stress to it. So yeah, all those smiles, they're smiling, but they're not thinking it.
And have you done both versions, the old version and David McAllister's reinvented Sleeping Beauty?
Yeah, the production we had beforehand was from Houston Ballet's director Stan Welsh, which was a very different take on it. It's still a very traditional, but just a very different look. So I must say, like both are very incredible. But it's kind of nice. This is David's first piece he's ever made for the company. He's been our director now for such a long time. It's really nice for him to actually finally have something with his name on it. So it's really quite nice to do. You feel proud when you do this piece. You're doing it for him, essentially. Oh, costume malfunction.
Loss.
Good one, Sarah. The first striptease in Garland. Beautiful, darling. We're gonna start a new international trend. Very good, guys, very good. We're going really well. Just while we've stopped, let's go back to big circle. But gentlemen, as I think Tristan said yesterday, our cabrioles, don't let the back leg drop in. Okay, really keep that length. Yeah, exactly. Before the chassé, make sure you finish your cabrioles. Very good. I think was there anything else you wanted to say?
Gents coming forward, it's the Jade, Lucy and Cal, and who's my last one? That front line forward step, Francois. Just make sure we're stepping together, yes. I'll 7.
Yep. Cool. Anything, Tris? Okay, let's pick it up from the big circle. Just going into it, thanks, Jim.
Okay, I have to ask this now, Jarryd.
Yep.
Ever had a wardrobe malfunction on stage?
Oh, okay, hang on. Let me think about that for a second.
Like, I can't recall ever seeing a tutu fall off on stage.
No, in this particular piece, actually, when we did it last time around, all the men have this nice long white wigs on, very stylised, old-fashioned curls above the ears, pulled back hair in a ponytail, and one of the guys, their ponytail just exploded, and so they end up looking more like Albert Einstein as opposed to a very refined Garland dancer. It was cool. No one ever smiled so much on stage to try and sell a piece.
Watch your angles, guys. Yes, better.
I would imagine working with props like those garlands would add a whole other element to the piece as well, like getting whacked in the head by them or missing, hanging onto them.
You're exactly right. It's kind of funny. It's like an extension of the arm, and so then because you're dancing, not used to holding onto things, you do get bopped a couple of times until you realise where you're supposed to be and where the girls are supposed to put their arms. And also, it's a bit of a workout. Those things are quite weighty. You see all their guns, working on the guns.
Good pattern at the end. Very nice, ladies and gents. Well done. Well done.
For now, from everybody here at the Australian Ballet. Thanks for joining us. Enjoy the rest of World Ballet Day. Goodbye. See you later.
See ya. Do svidaniya.